South African Airways 747 flies from Taiwan back home to South Africa. The plane is a modified 747 known as a combi, short for combination, a passenger plane and a cargo plane in one. It's designed to accommodate flexible quantities of passengers and cargo. The combi has a large cargo area down below, like a regular 747. The combi also has a large cargo area right behind the last row of economy class seats. The cockpit sits one level above the cabin. Flight 295 is carrying 159 people, as well as 6 large pallets of cargo. Known as the Helderberg, the 747 Combi is a vital member of the South African Airways fleet. It's particularly useful for long-range flying. To protest South Africa's white racist regime, the vast majority of black African states refuse to allow South African airlines to fly over their airspace, causing them to fly longer routes. On Flight 295, less than an hour before its stop in Mauritius, the smoke alarm breaks the calm of the cockpit. It's for the cargo area on the main deck, directly behind the passengers. By the time the crew gets to it, the fire is raging. In fire emergencies, the crew follows a standard checklist to extinguish the fire. The fire is burning through the plane's wiring, causing short circuits. But there's a more immediate problem. Passengers are having trouble breathing. The fire checklist instructs the pilot to land at the nearest airport, but the closest one is on the island of Mauritius, still more than 300 kilometers away. Captain Ace initiates an emergency descent. He calls the airport on the island of Mauritius, which is on good terms with South Africa. It's just before 4 in the morning when Mauritius Air Traffic Control receives the call. Captain Ace sounds calm, but he has to find a way of getting rid of the smoke on his plane. Whatever's burning in the cargo hold is producing thick, noxious smoke which is pouring into the cabin. It could be deadly to the passengers. Captain Ace is losing power to many of his instruments. He's not sure where he is. The airport prepares for an emergency landing, while the crew of the Helderberg follows instructions from another checklist to get rid of the smoke. The crew gets more bad news from the cabin. The smoke is getting thicker. With the plane approaching an altitude of 4,500 meters, the checklist advises the captain to execute an emergency maneuver that few pilots have ever performed. Opening the plane's doors in midair is the only hope for thinning a cloud of smoke that could kill the passengers before the struggling jet can land. At 4,500 meters, passengers can breathe the outside air. At that altitude, the difference in pressure between the air inside and outside the cabin is enough to force the cabin air out quickly, but not dangerously. Smoke is now building in the cockpit, but there's no outside door to open. The air traffic controller now focuses on giving the captain the information he needs for an emergency landing. Captain Ace has one hope. He must make it to the island of Mauritius. 265 kilometers away, the Helderberg continues on its desperate journey. But at 4:08 in the morning, a call by the air traffic controller is not returned. With no response from Flight 295 for 36 minutes, Air Traffic Control Mauritius formally declares an emergency. An alert goes out to search and rescue crews. Several aircraft take off from Mauritius and search the dark waters for the missing plane, but find nothing. At the airport in Johannesburg, South African Airways officially declares Flight 295 delayed. In the afternoon of the next day, a rescue plane spots the first signs of floating aircraft wreckage. 8 bodies are found in the water, all suffering from extreme trauma. South Africa quickly becomes obsessed with what caused the crash. In the early days, there's very little to examine, only small bits of the plane that are floating on the surface.